Hello guys and welcome back to another reality show review episode, and today we're going to be looking at Love Island All Stars, and I can't believe they've roped me back in. If I'm being 100% honest, I genuinely don't know what they've done, what kind of crack they've put in this show, but it is actually kind of entertaining and fun. I really wasn't expecting it given the cast. The cast wasn't screaming All Stars to me, but from the first two episodes, I think that there is definitely some hope here and some kind of intrigue in watching people who've already been on the show go on it again and just have a laugh. Well, I say have a laugh, it's kind of dramatic at the same time. This currently feels a lot like a mix between Love Island, Big Brother, and a show called X on the Beach. I'll get into that a little bit later, but it is actually decent viewing. So if you're not sure whether you want to watch this season, I'd say watch the first couple of episodes, maybe watch the first week, decide whether you want to continue. I'm kind of interested to see where it will go, purely because there's some dynamics that I think are really, really interesting. And like I said, it's kind of like X on the Beach, which is a little bit toxic. And you know me, I do love a little bit of drama. I do love a little bit of just I love arguments. I love just people having a row with each other and just things being awkward and uncomfortable. Not when I'm in the situation, but when I'm watching it, it's like, oh, there were so many times where I was like this. Oh my god, I can't watch. Guys, I actually don't think you understand how crazy this series is so far. So we were introduced to the new Islanders. Well, I say new, old Islanders who have come back one by one. The first person was Hannah. Now, Hannah's from season 1. Don't really know much about her, but she seems really lovely and quite, yeah, quite nice, I'd say. She's got a son that's 4 years old or 5 years old, I can't remember. And my only note on it was she looks fun, not gonna lie. Then we get Liberty. Now Liberty was on season 7. Season 7 is the only season that I watched from start to finish, and I really like Liberty. Her storyline with Jake was really heartbreaking to watch, especially towards the end, and I'm glad that she's come back. It's not going to last for long, but we'll see how it goes. Apparently, she hasn't spoken to Jake since she broke up with him on the show, which I think is kind of crazy if I'm being honest. But it's sometimes hard to reconnect with people that you've kind of grown distant from. It is what it is. Do you know what I mean? Next up, Chris and Jake joined the villa. The way Liberty's face dropped when they arrived, that was absolutely hilarious. Like I said, this show so far is full of so many awkward, uncomfortable moments that, like, I really wasn't expecting. Like, I don't know, whose idea was it to put Jake and Liberty back into the Love Island villa from the get-go? That just doesn't sound like a smart idea, if I'm being 100% honest, but it is dramatic and it is entertaining. So Jake feels like he's more mature now. That's what I wrote down. And Chris and Hannah were just kind of taking the piss out of the whole situation. They were like, oh my god, this must be really uncomfortable for you guys, right? Right? Speaking of Chris, he's so funny. I can't believe that he didn't get more screen time or more interest on his first season. That was season 5. So that was a long, long time ago, back in 2019. That was the first series I started watching. But I don't particularly remember him from that series. So it is what it is. Apparently he had a cameo in the Barbie movie, which I think is quite crazy. And apparently at the after party for Barbie or something along those lines, he was speaking to Margot Robbie and got so awkward and uncomfortable that he started to talk about micro penises. Yeah, I feel like this guy's going to be very, very entertaining this series, and I'm kind of excited to watch how he gets on. The next two in were Mitch and Kaz. Kaz, I've missed her. She's such a great laugh. She's so funny. She has these one-liners that just really crack me up, and she feels like the narrator of the series, which is a little bit of a shame because, like, it feels like they never ever... She never ever finds someone that's for her. She's always helping other people find the people for them. So I'm fingers crossed, there's someone out there for her in this series. As for Mitch, he's from the latest season, and apparently he was nicknamed Messy Mitch. Don't know a great deal about him, but he seems fun, and he's quite entertaining so far. I gotta be honest. I have to be honest. He is quite entertaining so far. Then we got Anton and Georgia S. Now, again, I don't know who Georgia S is, but apparently she's the I'm Loyal Babe girl from series 4? 3? 4, right? I think it's season 4. So yeah, she seems fun. She seems nice. Anton, he made sure to reference the fact that he's had 7 bed changes when he was in season 5, which I think is crazy, because he was only there for like what, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, not even that. He wasn't even there for the whole time, and he had 7 bed changes within those 5 weeks. That's absolutely crazy. He said he's looking for love, and he's often called the Duracell bunny, but now he's called the Maturacell bunny. Yeah, it was quite awkward, that joke. I didn't really find it very, very funny, but it is what it is. Moving on to the next two. The next two were Toby and I think it's Luis or something like that. I can't remember. I've only watched 2 episodes of him. He's another season 1 OG. He also has a child, and now he's looking to settle down. There's something going on between Georgia and Toby. I don't quite know what is going on between them, but clearly something is. So I'm very excited to see how that goes. And then Toby, bless him, another season 7 fave. He started talking about the fact that there are too many girls in the villa that are his type. He said something like 90% of the girls in the villa are my type. That's why I find it so hard to choose. Oh, bestie, you just gotta at some point just pick one. Do you know what I mean? The last 2 were Georgia H and Demi. Demi was one of my faves from season 6. She had the iconic fall where she just completely stacked it with her drink one night. That was one of my favorite moments of the whole show. And then Georgia H mentioned that she's had yogurts in her fridge longer than she's had relationships, and she also caused the meme. There's like a picture of like someone on Love Island that does this, and it's like a kind of face. And she caused it by taking that girl's guy. So she clearly is quite an iconic person, and she seems lovely so far. So yeah, I've got good faith that this series can have some drama, has some longevity. It's only going on for 5 weeks. Thank God it's not going on for the usual 8. There's no Casa or more, so it should be just a very, very interesting series, and the twists and turns they've introduced so far are proving to be quite entertaining and quite interesting. My Jama turns up, and immediately everyone's like, yes, let's get going. They know the drill. They know they've done it before. I'm fairly certain that Mitch is the only person on the show that was also on the show with Maya before. So it's kind of interesting to see that different dynamic. Some of them were there when Caroline Flack was hosting it. Some of them were there when Laura Whitmore was hosting it, and now obviously Maya Jama's doing it. It's a very, very different dynamic. I think Maya Jama's got a really good banter with the Islanders as well, especially when she walked in. It can sometimes be a little bit tense when it's sort of quote unquote nobodies in their normal series, but these people are known by the public or the people who watch Love Island, so there's like a different vibe going on, which I think is working actually quite nicely currently. So the boys were asked to line up in a line, and the girls were asked to choose the guy that they are most attracted to straight away. It's very superficial, very sort of standard Love Island stuff, but the results were actually very, very interesting. Jake ended up with no one by him, as did Toby. Anton ended up with Georgia S by him, although Georgia S was going to choose Toby as her quote-unquote safe option because she already knows him. Demi chose Lewis. I'm going to say it's Lewis, I think it is. And Toby... Chris had 3 people next to him. He had... I'm forgetting all their names now. Georgia H, definitely. Kaz, and I've got the other one written down here. Hannah. Oh, I keep forgetting her name. Hannah Elizabeth. That's her name, but I keep calling her Elizabeth when it's Hannah Elizabeth. Anyway, moving on. The last person was... Who's the last boy? Oh, Mitch, and Liberty chose Mitch, which I thought was really, really funny and interesting. So, tense from the start. I do feel really, really bad for Jake and Liberty at the moment because it's really awkward when you've got like your ex. I know they weren't like properly in a relationship for a long time, but like, it just does feel like a little bit awkward and a little bit uncomfortable at the moment. But they were also told, well, these aren't your couples. The public have voted for your couples, and Maya, I will be back later to tell you guys what couples you are going to be in. Oh, it was just awkward. It was just awkward because I was like, oh, they just know. They just know that Liberty and Jake are going to be paired up together. Tough. Absolutely tough times. So before I get started, it's time to talk about some iconic quotes and moments from the episode. Most of them, I'm going to be honest, were involving Chris, but Kaz did have a hilarious one. Kaz was calling Toby loyal when she was talking to... I actually can't remember who she was talking to, but she was talking to someone. She was like, oh yeah, Toby's really loyal. But if we remember from his series, he did kind of couple up with four different people. Oh my god, there was Kaz, there was Chloe, there was Abigail, and there was Mary, and then he went back to Chloe in the end. That's actually crazy. So I wouldn't necessarily call him the most loyal guy. He kind of just like, yeah, if he feels a vibe, he's gonna try and chase the vibe. But maybe he's changed. He was in a relationship with Chloe for a while, so like clearly it did work out for them for a little bit, but obviously not in the long run. So that was a really, really funny moment. The next really funny moment was Chris having a chat with Georgia H, and Georgia H was talking about her posture. I think Chris was like, oh, you got great posture. And she went, yeah, I do this, I do this, I do this. And then he goes, I've got the posture of a quaver, which a quaver's like that kind of shape, isn't it? Oh, bless him, Chris. You're actually very, very funny. And then, speaking of Chris, later on, he was talking about bananas, and he was like, "Did you know that the bottom of a banana is called the I can't even say it. Bananas? Was it bananas? I can't remember. But it was still a very, very funny moment and did really make me chuckle. I feel like he's going to be a bit of a hit this series because people are interested in him and want to sort of... They like the funny guy and the entertaining guy, and he's also easy on the eyes. So it kind of just works out. I just think that when he came into the villa in season 5, he was already working on the back foot. He wasn't necessarily able to make any genuine connections because people had already made those genuine connections already. So it does seem like Georgia S and Toby had like a little bit of a thing on Love Island Games. I did not watch it. It seems like it was only in America, and I heard it was absolutely abysmal from people who have watched it. So I didn't bother. But apparently Toby and Georgia Steele were both on there and had a little bit of a connection, and they're now looking to further sort of explore it, I guess, on this show, which I think is really lovely. Toby was actually a little bit upset that she didn't choose him in the lineup, but I think she just panicked and was like, oh, I'll just go for someone new to find out what the vibe is. Anton, unfortunately, is kind of looking in her direction, which is going to make things a little bit tricky and a little bit awkward, but I'm sure they'll work it out. It's not gonna be too difficult, do you know what I mean? So on the whole, pretty decent, not too bad. Interestingly, another person who panicked and picked someone else was Demi. So Demi went for Lewis, and she was actually going to go for Chris, but then panicked because there were so many girls by Chris. And she also mentioned that he's sort of slid into her DMs before, but it didn't really go anywhere because she just is a bad replier and prefers to meet up in person. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes, especially after some later developments in the episode. So yeah, very, very interesting moment. The last interesting thing I've got to say before we head into the coupling ceremony is the fact that Toby was actually sitting by the fire going, yeah, I think Liberty and Jake are going to be paired up together. That's just the public have missed an opportunity there to cause chaos if they don't do that. which I thought was very, very funny. He's very in tune to what the public are thinking, which is good. So yeah, on the whole, very, very, very interesting and entertaining start to the episode. So we come to the coupling ceremony, and I gotta say, there were some surprises, but there were also some sort of not so surprises. So Chris was paired up with Demi. I think that's a great pairing. Demi wanted to get to know Chris. Chris seems interested in Demi, so that is very, very cool there. Lewis is paired up with Georgia H. Interesting pairing. Not what I was expecting, if I'm being 100% honest, but clearly the public knows something that I don't about Lewis and about those two, because I don't know anything about them. Toby was paired up with Georgia Steele. Anton was absolutely gutted, and then Anton was paired up with Hannah, and they seemed both very interested in each other, which I think was good. Jake was obviously paired up with Liberty. That was a really, really awkward moment. And then Mitch was paired up with Kaz, and on the whole, I think that was good pairings. There was a couple that I think are gonna sort of not work out, like Liberty and Jake. In fact, Liberty and Jake deaded it immediately. There was like, yeah, there's no, because I think Maya was like, oh, do you think there's a spark there? And they both went, no, not really, which I think was good. They kind of deaded it from them immediately. And then Jake, oh my god, he was like, oh, I don't hate the girl. I don't hate the girl. And it was like, dude, oh, you're putting your foot in it. Just say yeah. Not going back there. And then when Maya asked Mitch how he was feeling, he was like, yeah, I feel like we're gonna get on. I mean, I don't hate the girl, which was so funny. I feel like Mitch actually is gonna be very entertaining. I don't know why he's called Messy Mitch. I'm assuming it's because of he got himself into a messy situation during this, the last series, but he is very entertaining, and I'm very excited to see how he gets on. I gotta be honest. The last part of this episode was shocking, I gotta be honest, because they introduced two brand new Love Islanders. Not brand new, but new all-star Love Islanders. One of them was Callum, who is fresh off 6 months ago. He broke up with his girlfriend Molly, who obviously they left on the show together. They've been together 3.5 years, broke up 6 months ago. He's ready to find love again. Guess who walks through the door? Molly. This is what I mean by X on the beach. By the fact that we are literally watching people being put in a Love Island villa with their ex and being asked, do you wanna hook back up with them, or do you wanna try and graft in front of them with other people? Oh god, it's so awkward. I'm not gonna get into his decision making, because essentially Maya was like, oh, Callum, you've got the choice to either steal one of the other girls or couple up with your ex. What do you mean, couple up with my ex? Huh? I've come on this show hoping and praying to find love. Probably not, let's be honest. But hoping and praying to find love. And you've put my ex in the mix with me. Oh, it's vile. It's vile behaviour, but also juicy behaviour. Oh, honestly, this series is going to go one of two ways. It's either going to be the most entertaining series ever, or it's going to die within a week or two. It's not been doing well in the ratings from what I've been seeing. I think the first episode has 1.5, and then the second episode didn't even scrape a mil. So it looks like there just isn't necessarily the demand, but I know I haven't been watching live, so live viewing isn't necessarily the best way to gauge it. The 7-day viewings, once people have had a chance to catch up, is probably the best sort of way to gauge how the series has fared. But on the whole, I am enjoying it so far. I'm probably going to upload episode 2 later on today. I've just got to film it, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. Keep on ranting, and I will see you later for another Love Island review episode. Keep on ranting. Bye now.